All right, today we're diving into one of the most intellectually explosive periods in all of history, ancient China's 100 schools of thought. This was a time when civilization was literally falling apart, and the greatest minds of the era stepped up to try and piece it all back together. But first, let me ask you this. What do you do when all the rules that have held everything together for centuries just stop working? When trust is gone and chaos is the new normal? I mean, for the people of ancient China, this wasn't some thought experiment. It was their terrifying day-to-day reality. So to really get why all these brilliant ideas suddenly burst onto the scene, we first have to understand the crisis that sparked them. We're talking about a world turned completely upside down. Now, for almost 300 years, the Zhou dynasty had kept things stable. There was order. But then, boom. In 771 BCE, invaders sacked the capital, the king was killed, and the central government just shattered. This kicked off what's known as the Spring and Autumn period, which was basically centuries of brutal, non-stop warfare between power-hungry warlords. And you have to understand, this wasn't just a political problem. It was a crisis of faith. All the traditions, the rituals, that sense of order that had guided people for generations, it suddenly felt like a total lie. Society was sick, and everyone was desperately searching for a cure. And that's where our story really gets going. This explosion of new philosophies wasn't some quiet academic debate. No, it was an urgent, frantic search for a cure. This whole era became known as the 100 schools of thought. But don't picture a university, okay? Picture a massive public health crisis. You have dozens of brilliant thinkers popping up, and each one is acting like a doctor, diagnosing society's illness and prescribing their own unique and often pretty radical treatment. So really, put yourself in their shoes for a second. If it was your job to fix a totally broken world, where would you even start? Do you try to change people's hearts, or do you just focus on their actions and force them to behave? Well, the first major solution on the table came from a philosopher who believed the answer was all about our inner character. This was the moral code, and its champion was Confucius. For Confucius, the problem wasn't external, it was internal. His diagnosis was that society was sick because people had simply lost their moral compass. He saw leaders who were corrupt, families who had forgotten their duties, and individuals who had just forgotten what it meant to be a good person. And this quote from him just nails it. He looked around and saw a world full of petty men, all just chasing their own selfish interests. His solution? To cultivate a new generation of virtuous men, people guided by a sense of duty and responsibility. For Confucius, a healthy society is just a reflection of the good people inside it. So, here's his prescription. First, people have to cultivate Ren. That's genuine compassion and empathy. Then they have to follow Li. These are all the social rituals and rules of etiquette that create harmony. The idea is that these aren't just empty motions. They actually shape your character. And here's the most important part. It all starts at the top. If a ruler leads by moral example, they don't have to force people to be good. They inspire a good society into being. But yeah, not everyone was so optimistic about human nature. Another school of thought came along with a radically different and honestly, a much darker solution. The iron fist of legalism. The legalists looked at the exact same chaos and came to the complete opposite conclusion. Their diagnosis? People are not good. They are fundamentally selfish, they're lazy, and they're only moved by two things, reward and punishment. Trying to teach them to be virtuous, in their view, was a complete and utter waste of time. This quote from the legalist thinker Han Fei says it all. Forget trying to inspire people. Forget appealing to their better nature. The only way to create order is to force them to act correctly with a system of clear laws and unavoidable consequences. You trust the system, not the person. So let's just put these two side by side, because the contrast is like night and day. On human nature, Confucius says people are teachable, basically good. The legalists say they're selfish and you can't trust them. And that one difference changes everything. The path to order? For Confucians, it's moral education. For legalists, it's strict laws and harsh punishments. One government is a moral guide, the other is a cold, impartial enforcer. Totally different diagnoses, leading to totally different cures. But then, a third major school of thought looked at this whole debate and asked a really profound question. What if both of them are wrong? What if the problem isn't our failure to fix society, but the fact that we're trying to control it in the first place? This was the path of Daoism, And they basically threw the entire rulebook out the window. The Taoist prescription was a concept called Wu Wei, which basically means effortless action. The idea is that the universe has a natural underlying flow. They called it the Tao, or the Wei. And they argue that all of our human suffering, the wars, the complicated laws, the ambition, it all comes from fighting against that natural current. It's like trying to force a river to flow uphill. So while the Confucians were busy building complex social rules and the legalists were creating this iron web of laws, the Taoists offered this radical alternative: find order by just letting go. True harmony, they said, isn't something you build. It's something you find by embracing simplicity and moving with the natural world, not by trying to conquer it. Now, these three, Confucianism, legalism, and Daoism, were just a few of the 100 schools, but man, their ideas would go on to shape the future in profound ways, and they raise questions we are still wrestling with today. And you've got to understand, these weren't just passing fads. These arguments that were born from chaos, arguments about morality, law, and nature, they literally became the intellectual and spiritual bedrock of Chinese civilization, influencing everything for over 2,000 years. Which, of course, brings us back to right now. Our world is facing its own kinds of chaos and uncertainty. So I'll leave you with this question. When you look at the challenges we face today, which one of these ancient cures seems most relevant? Do we need more moral leadership, stricter rules, or maybe a radical return to simplicity? The debate continues.